Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 8 o'clock on Fox 50, police are asking for your help finding this little girl at the center of an Amber Alert. What we know about her disappearance, including where she was last seen and the car to be on the lookout for.
And this morning, temperatures are nice and mild, beginning to warm on up into the 60s in a few places. I'll show you how much warmer it gets this afternoon.
And a big delay to the voting process is now official. How much it'll cost you, the taxpayer, now that mail-in ballots will need to be reprinted. A lot of stories that we're covering this morning on WRAL News and Fox 50. But first, we don't have to just get right to that first. We want to say thank you for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Levingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. And a really cool start this morning. I was walking in just this, and I didn't have a sweater. Elizabeth, I know you love the sweater, you love the jacket. This morning is the time for it.
Definitely. I had a little light sweater on this morning. I was very happy about that. And Michelle, I would recommend another one tomorrow if you think about it. We take a live look at downtown, looking beautiful down Fayetteville Street toward Memorial Auditorium. We're seeing blue sky everywhere. You might notice a little bit of haze to the atmosphere. We're going to start to see some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico in the next day or two, and a little bit of that smoke from the wildfires back west. But for the most part, it's going to be beautiful like it was yesterday. 60 degrees right now. Our dew point is 56. That's a very comfortable level of moisture in the atmosphere. 58 in Fayetteville, 54 Goldsboro, 60 in Durham right now. And temperatures are on their way up, and it will be a warm afternoon with highs in the mid 80s, but our humidity does stay low. Lots of sunshine, no rain in the forecast for today or tomorrow. Tropical storm Francine, 65 mile per hour winds. This is the 8 o'clock advisory. It is 8:01. No real change from the 5 o'clock advisory. Still the same wind speed, still the same forward motion, just north at 5 miles per hour. It's kind of sitting and spinning here. Eventually, it's going to pick up some forward motion and some intensity. Becomes a Category 1 storm later on today, potentially making landfall late Wednesday evening and then moving northward and stalling there up through the Mississippi Valley. It will send some rain in our direction, but very little. Most of the heaviest rain is going to be where it makes landfall in Louisiana and up the Mississippi Valley, as much as 5 to 10 inches near landfall. They could also see 9-foot storm surge, and we're going to talk more about some of those impacts in Louisiana coming up in just a couple of minutes. For us through the weekend, very little rain, probably going to be less than an inch, which will be good, Ken.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We continue to monitor this crash on I-40 and those westbound lanes. We're talking right here. That's usually we will add to that congestion on the south side of the Beltline this morning. You can see it right there at Gorman Street, and you can see the slowdown that it's causing in those westbound lanes. Let's isolate the Beltline and show you what we're talking about. This stretches all the way back to also the 440 split there on the south side of the Beltline. Also, you're looking at the north side of the Beltline, delays as well in terms of what you could expect as you head out this morning. This is what the south side look like. It's I-40 and Rock Quarry Road. You can see the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning, bumper to bumper traffic there this morning. We'll keep an eye on that and let you know in terms of what you're going to be looking at this morning. Coming in from those 87 southbound lanes from Knightdale, you're looking at a 7-minute delay, but another trouble spot remains the US 1 Capitol Boulevard. Coming in from Wake Forest this morning, you're looking at a 15-minute delay.
All right, thank you, Ken. We are following this developing story. Please look at your screen very closely. Police need your help looking for this 3-year-old girl. An Amber Alert was issued just after 11:30 last night for Chloe Marlowe. Here's what we know. Chloe was last seen around 4:30 Sunday afternoon near Boiling Spring Lakes in Brunswick County. Police say she was with her grandmother, Jamie Marlowe. Marlowe was driving a red Kia Sportage with NC plates PMN 9366. If you know anything about where Chloe might be, call 911 or star HP.
Your time is 8:04 this morning. Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will face off in their first debate in Philadelphia. According to several sources, Harris has been participating in mock debates in preparation. Former President Trump is preparing by having meetings with advisors and getting foreign policy coaching from allies. You can watch our coverage of tonight's debate over on WRAL beginning at 8.
Here's a few things to know about the debate. It'll be 90 minutes long. There will be no audience. The moderators will be the only ones asking questions, and the candidates will not be allowed to ask each other questions. Their microphones will be muted when the other candidate has the floor.
North Carolinians are more optimistic than pessimistic about the economy. In a new exclusive WRAL News poll conducted by Survey USA, 45% of all NC adults say that they are optimistic. 33% are pessimistic, and 22% say they're just not sure. WRAL News polls results yesterday showed the presidential race more or less tied, but with a slight edge to Harris. Harris has largely been tied to President Biden's record on the economy, but Republicans have criticized Biden over rising inflation during his presidency. Political observers have questioned whether Harris would inherit that reputation, and WRAL will release results for the governor's race starting at 4 p.m.
Well, it is now official. The State Board of Elections will need to reprint all of its ballots for the November election. The state Supreme Court upheld a ruling last night requiring Robert F. Kennedy's name to be removed. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the State Board of Elections. And Kelsey, this could cost the state's taxpayers upwards of $1 million.
Michelle, it sure could. Your mail-in ballot was supposed to be sent out in the mail on Friday. Now, after a series of court rulings, the State Board of Elections here will have to reprint all of those ballots. Your mail-in ballot could be weeks late. This after the state Supreme Court upheld a lower court's ruling last night. They decided all mail-in ballots should be reprinted without Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name on it, costing up to $1 million taxpayer dollars. A trial court judge ruled against reprinting ballots on Thursday. It was sent to the Court of Appeals the next day. That court ruled that the ballots should be reprinted. Last night's Supreme Court decision upholds that. The Supreme Court says any missed deadlines and extra spending are worth it to ensure no voter confusion. Right now, we're working to find out that exact timeline for when you could receive your ballot in the mail. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, Wake County parents can learn more about plans to move thousands of students to new schools. Let's go ahead and bring in WRAL's Laura Levine joining us live from one of those school sites. Laura, school leaders say this is all about alleviating overcrowding in the district.
Chris, absolutely, and good morning. We know construction is well underway here for the new Felton Grove High School. It's expected to accommodate more than 2,200 students. It's one of 4 schools and those new schools that are opening in southern Wake County next year. Today, the first of 4 informational sessions will kick off. Parents and families will get to learn more about the reassignment plans for the 3 elementary and 1 high school. The school board recently unveiled the first draft of next year's enrollment plan. This involves shuffling students from 22 elementary schools, 12 middle schools, and 6 high schools. They say it addresses overcrowding and shortens some bus routes. Wake County Schools also has an online forum where parents can go and share some of that feedback they may have about all of these changes. The Felton Grove informational session, which is virtual, will begin at 6 o'clock and it will run until 7:30 tonight. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Apex.
Today, we'll get an update about what Raleigh leaders plan to do with the old DMV headquarters on New Bern Avenue. The city asked hundreds of residents for feedback on what to do with the historic site. It plans to demolish the old DMV buildings late this year or early next year. City Council will give an update on the project, including next steps, at its work session this afternoon. They'll also give an update on Duplex Village and Zach's Grocery. All 3 projects are intended to support the city's bus rapid transit investments on New Bern.
People on the Gulf Coast are preparing for the arrival of Francine. You're looking live at New Orleans as the storm is expected to make landfall in Louisiana tomorrow, and it could be a Category 2 hurricane when that happens. The Gulf Coast could experience dangerous storm surge and flooding when the storm arrives. Louisiana's governor is warning power outages may be widespread. He's also urging people to listen to evacuation orders if and when they are issued.
Cleveland Brown star Deshaun Watson is facing another lawsuit. What the woman who filed the lawsuit says Watson did to her before a date.
And the Broadway community is remembering James Earl Jones after his death. How one of his friends and co-stars says Jones inspired him.
Pretty weather in our forecast for the next couple of days. Lots of sunshine, definitely warm temperatures in the mid-80s, but low humidity. We begin to cloud up, getting closer to the weekend with just a small chance of rain Saturday and Sunday. I'll show you what to expect.
Welcome back. 8:12 on your Tuesday morning as you look live over a beautiful North Hills. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. And we are starting off really chilly, but really nice and sunny. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will tell us about that. But first, we have to talk about Francine.
We do. This is a system that eventually will send us some cloud cover, but not very much rain. This is really going to be a big impact for folks in Louisiana. The storm will be strengthening today, likely making landfall tomorrow evening as a Category 1 or possibly a Category 2 storm. For us, again, we're looking at less than an inch of rain, so not a big impact for us. Right now, the storm has 65-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving very slowly north at 5 miles per hour and is about 400 miles south of Cameron, Louisiana. And Louisiana is where it's really going to most likely have the greatest damage. You can see after it makes landfall, it just moves up the Mississippi Valley instead of making a turn toward North Carolina. So again, not likely to be a big deal for us, but boy, likely to have some very heavy impacts along the coast of Louisiana. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is here to talk about how the storm is going to intensify so rapidly.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of folks have been talking about that potential concept of what's called rapid intensification. And that means the central wind speed of a hurricane or a tropical system increases by at least 35 miles per hour within a span of 24 hours. That's not necessarily happening right now because as you take a look at the water vapor imagery, there's some dry air that's being brought into the center of the storm. Plenty of moisture there in the green. And this is also where we're starting to see some of those stronger thunderstorms. Looking at a different type of satellite imagery, this shows the black right there. That's how cold the top of the clouds are. So this is punching into a very tall part of the atmosphere and creating some strong storms still as it moves into some very warm waters. You've got to keep in mind that in order for a hurricane to form, ocean waters have to be at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're well into the 80s here. So as Elizabeth was showing, there's the potential for this to still become a Category 2 hurricane at landfall, and that's why we've got all those watches and warnings. This looks like it could be the 10th landfalling storm in Louisiana in the past 5 years.
Man, yeah, they really have gotten hit hard lately, and this is going to be another one for the list, that's for sure. Hurricane warning in effect for most of the coast of Louisiana right now. This is going to be a big thing, the storm surge. It's only 3 feet in New Orleans, but it's 9 feet here in the red shaded area. This is all a very flat area, so you start to push water inland and it can go a long way because the land is so flat there. Heavy rain also going to be a big issue right here at landfall. Could be as much as 5 to 10 inches of rain, and then as it moves up the Mississippi Valley, could be anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rain. So definitely going to be a heavy rainfall event for a lot of folks, even away from the coast, but just not necessarily for our viewing area or for much of North Carolina. The flooding risk here will be high along the Gulf Coast, but as it moves northward, it's more of a medium flooding risk. You can see we'll follow this on Futurecast, and you can see as it continues to move northward, making landfall late on Wednesday into early Thursday and pushing that rain inland. But then look over here to North Carolina. Notice that we just don't see a lot of rain. There's likely to be a warm front that develops out ahead of this, and that could be a focus for some rain for us over the weekend. But right now we're looking at somewhere between not very much at all to maybe a 1/4 of an inch of rain. Of course, keep checking back. Things can change, pretty quickly with tropical systems. 2 more that we're watching out in the Atlantic, one at 40% chance, another at 70% chance of developing. So we'll keep an eye on those for sure. A nice day today, similar to yesterday. Highs will be in the mid-80s, a little bit of haze in the atmosphere. Another chilly start tomorrow at 58 and another nice afternoon. After that, we start to cloud up on Thursday and we'll be fairly cloudy through the weekend, but our chances for rain are minimal. It's a 30% chance for some scattered showers Saturday and Sunday afternoon, Ken.
Well, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. If you have family or friends coming to visit this morning and they're coming in on I-40 eastbound, let them know that they're running into a huge backup because of this crash on I-40 eastbound near the 85 connector this morning. If you have an opportunity to give them a call, tell them to get off on the nearest exit they can find and get over to Highway 70. That's their best alternate route in terms of avoiding the slowdown that you're seeing there on I-40 eastbound. Back here in Wake County, this crash we've been monitoring here at Gorman Street on the westbound lanes of I-40. You can see the huge backup, it's called. And as we isolate the Beltline this morning, you can see that Beltline, the traffic stretches all the way back to I-40 and Rock Quarry Road, and this is what it looks like this morning. The bumper-to-bumper traffic, you see folks getting off on Rock Quarry Road, probably a lot of those folks are going to Southeast Raleigh High School and points over on Southeast Raleigh. So right now that backup is looking like a huge issue this morning. You're looking at maybe a 12 to 15 minute delay. The real trouble spot for us this morning, again, is 87 southbound lanes coming in from Knightdale. You're looking at a 20-minute delay. And similarly with the folks coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 12-minute delay coming into the capital city.
All right, thank you, Ken. Happening today, students in other schools in Barrow County, Georgia will return to class after last week's deadly mass shooting. Yesterday, students from Appalachia High School were allowed to return to the building to get their belongings. Many of them left their things behind when they ran from the gunfire. Last week, 14-year-old Colt Gray allegedly shot and killed 2 students and 2 teachers at the high school. 9 others were hurt. It is not clear when Appalachia students will go back to school.
Cleveland Browns star Deshaun Watson is facing more legal trouble. The quarterback is being sued for sexual assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The woman who filed the complaint said Watson attacked her in her apartment before a date in October 2020. The lawsuit is seeking more than $1 million. Watson has been accused in several sexual misconduct cases since 2021. He settled 23 of 26 lawsuits filed against him in 2022.
Body cam video released by police in Miami is giving a new look at the moments NFL star Tyreek Hill was pulled from his car and handcuffed.
Keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
The video shows Hill refusing to keep his window down after officers pulled him over for speeding. As Hill is pulled from the car and held on the ground, he is on the phone with his agent telling him he's being arrested. Hill was on his way to the Miami Dolphins game on Sunday when this happened. He was issued 2 traffic tickets. Miami-Dade police say one of the officers is on administrative duties while an investigation is happening.
Time is 8:19, and this morning, more tributes to actor James Earl Jones after his death. The Broadway community honored the actor outside the theater named after him. The man who voiced Darth Vader and Mufasa died at 93 yesterday. Steve Patterson has more on his life and his legacy.
I shall pray for you. For over 70 years, he graced stage and screen with a voice that commanded attention.
Don't you try and go through life worried if somebody like you or not.
James Earl Jones was born in rural Mississippi in 1931. As a child, he developed a debilitating stutter.
You never get over it, really. You simply learn how to work around it.
Just want to block and then keeping him off me.
His breakthrough Tony-winning performance came as boxing champ Jack Johnson in The Great White Hope, which was later turned into a movie.
I am your father.
But it was a 2.5-hour voiceover session for George Lucas that changed his life. The role propelled him, or at least his voice, to worldwide fame as Darth Vader in Star Wars. For the next 40 years, he excelled on stage, winning a 2nd Tony Award.
James Earl Jones.
And on the big screen, a Navy admiral in The Hunt for Red October.
And I was never here.
In The Lion King.
You are more than what you have become.
And the voice of all baseball fans in Field of Dreams.
People will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. May I have your attention, please?
On screen and in life, James Earl Jones was a king.
The goal wasn't to be a billionaire or to be a Hollywood star, to be a part of good storytelling. The goal was about that. I found you!
He found his voice, and we got a legend.
I don't know any child of the 90s who doesn't know the quote, "Everything the light touches is our kingdom." He will be missed. Friend and fellow actor Giancarlo Esposito talked about how Jones inspired him throughout his career.
Really admired him, really loved, you could recognize his voice anywhere. And people tell me now that about myself. Someone who really shepherded me along with his knowledge and just the example that he gave me in regard to the commitment to his craft.
Esposito and Jones starred alongside each other in the Broadway play Cat on a Hot Tin Roof in 2008. Jones's funeral arrangements have not been announced just yet.
He will be missed. Well, Princess Kate says she has completed her chemotherapy treatment and is looking forward to returning to public life. The announcement came in a video shared by the royal family. She says she is taking every day as it comes, but is looking forward to be back at work and being at more public events. Kate publicly announced her cancer diagnosis in March. She has not revealed the type of cancer she has.
Well, soon the stadium, home of the Carolina Hurricanes and NC State men's basketball, will not be known as PNC Arena. Teams began taking down signs outside the arena yesterday, but it's unclear what the arena will be called in the future. But there is a video, a trailer in fact, for EA Sports' NHL 25 game, and it hints at a new name being the Lenovo Center. A meeting to approve the new naming rights contract is expected to happen Thursday.
Apple's new line of iPhones looks a lot like the old line, but the company says it represents a vision for the future. Apple unveiled its iPhone 16 on Monday. It's the first iPhone built for artificial intelligence. It comes equipped with special chips for a host of new AI tools. But Apple says those tools don't come with it. The first features will come out in beta mode next month, and they'll continue to be rolled out in subsequent software updates. Coming up, police are seeking your help in finding a missing 3-year-old girl. What we know about Chloe Marlowe and the last place she was seen.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio in Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. A nice, sunny, chilly start for your Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a beautiful look over Wake Forest this morning.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are enjoying this nice little early fall taste that we've seen the last 2 days, and it'll continue for another day or two. Beautiful in Wake Forest this morning. Lots of sunshine out there. Our temperatures are in the 50s still right now. 58 in Fayetteville, 56 Tarboro, 57 in Irwin. We did hit 60 officially at RDU just a little while ago. Perfect for your morning run. This afternoon feeling good too, highs in the mid 80s, so on the warm side, but our humidity stays low today and will be nice and bright through the afternoon. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WO Traffic Center. We've got a number of incidents dotting our traffic map this morning, but really it's less about the traffic accidents and more about the usual congestion that we see this morning. Taking a look at those major routes coming into the capital city, you're looking at a 10-minute delay coming in from Nidell on those southbound lanes. Also a 13-minute delay for our good friends of Wake Forest. Give yourself some extra time coming in. Also in I-40 eastbound, that crash that I told you about that happened near the 85 connector, you're adding about a 5-minute delay to your time. And of course, US 1 coming in out of Apex, you're looking at a 4-minute delay.
All right, thanks, Ken. Mail-in voting will be delayed for weeks because a ruling is forcing the State Board of Elections to reprint ballots. The state Supreme Court upheld a lower court's ruling deciding all mail-in ballots should be reprinted without RFK Jr.'s name on them, costing up to $1 million taxpayer dollars. And police need your help looking for this 3-year-old little girl. An Amber Alert was issued last night for Chloe Marlowe. She was last seen Sunday afternoon near Boiling Spring Lakes in Brunswick County. Police say she was with her grandmother, Jamie Marlowe. She was driving a red Kia Sportage with NC plates PMN 9366. We'll have more news, weather, and traffic on Fox 50.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
WRAL is following this developing story. Police in Brunswick County looking for this 3-year-old girl. When she was last seen and who authorities believe she is with.
And it's a nice start out there this morning. Still feeling pleasantly cool in a lot of places. We've jumped to around 60 in the Triangle. I'll show you the big temperature swing that we'll see this afternoon.
And today, Wake County school leaders are sharing their plans to move thousands of students to new schools next year. Which areas will be affected and how parents can weigh in on these reassignment plans. Thank you so much for joining us on your Tuesday morning. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingood. Yeah, a lot we're getting to today, but we cannot start the day without talking to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Beautiful start to the day. Again, another fall-like day as we're waking up.
Yeah, feeling great out there. We take a live look here in Zebulon, and of course, this is the historic town hall. Lots of sunshine there on the lawn. Don't you just take your shoes off and run through the grass there? It is 60 degrees, starting to warm up a little bit. Our dew point remains very comfortable at 56. Remember, the dew point is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere, and in the 50s, it feels feels very comfortable. No matter how hot it gets this afternoon, in the mid-80s, our dew point will stay nice and low. 55 in Southern Pines, 56 Goldsboro, 58 in South Hill, but 60 in Durham and Raleigh right now. We'll climb into the mid-80s for this afternoon. Lots of sunshine, maybe a little haze in the atmosphere like we saw yesterday. Watching Tropical Storm Francine, likely to become a hurricane later today and tomorrow evening, make landfall on the coast of Louisiana. Moving just north at 5 miles per hour right now, winds at 65, but likely to become a Category 1 hurricane later on today, possibly Cat 2 as it makes landfall. And then its path takes it up the Mississippi Valley and not toward North Carolina. So the major impacts are going to be here along the Gulf Coast, up to 9-foot storm surge, 5 to 10 inches of rain, and then that rain heads northward. For us over the weekend, we're really looking at some fairly light amounts, less than an inch easily. We'll walk you through and talk about when it's most likely that we'll see rain coming up, Ken.
Hi, Elizabeth. Happening now at the WRAL Traffic Center. We continue to track that situation that's happened in I-40 eastbound near the 85 connector. You're seeing the huge backup it's causing there. If you have someone coming in this morning, a family or friend, just get on the phone, tell them to get off at the nearest exit, maybe the 85 connector, and get over to Highway 70. That's a better alternate route in terms of avoiding what we're seeing on the eastbound lanes of I-40. The westbound lane of I-40 near Wade Avenue is seeing this crash, not causing any problems, a much different scenario. Let's isolate the Beltline because many of you use that in the mornings. If you're listening to us on the radio 101.5 HD3, the south side of the Beltline, you're looking at a 5 to 7 minute delay this morning. Also on the north side of the Beltline, similarly, you're looking at a delay of 5 to 7 minutes as well. This is a live look at I-440 at Capitol Boulevard. You can see the westbound lanes moving away from us. They're moving steadily, but actually at a slow pace this morning, so you might want to keep that in mind, give yourself some extra time. Taking a look at those delay times coming into the capital city. Those eastbound lanes, you're looking at an 8-minute delay, a 9-minute delay. That's actually getting better from the 87 coming in from Nightdale, and a 13-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest on US 1.
Ken, thank you. We have been following this developing story all night long. Police need your help looking for this 3-year-old girl. An Amber Alert was issued just after 11:30 last night for Chloe Marlowe. Here's what we know. Chloe was last seen around 4:30 Sunday afternoon. That was near Boiling Spring Lakes in Brunswick County. Police say she was with her grandmother, Jamie Marlowe. Marlowe was driving a red Kia Sportage with NC plates PMN 9366. If you know anything about where Chloe might be, you can call 911 or star HP.
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will meet tonight in Philadelphia for their first and perhaps their only debate. Aides say Harris has spent the last several days prepping with her team in Pittsburgh and holding mock debates. Harris is also leaning on advice from President Biden and also Hillary Clinton, hoping to benefit from their experiences debating Trump. Meanwhile, Trump is preparing by having meetings with advisors and getting foreign policy coaching from allies. You can watch coverage of tonight's debate on WRAL beginning at 8 o'clock.
Now, here are a few things that you should know about the debate. It'll be 90 minutes long. There will be no audience. The moderators will be the only ones asking questions. The candidates will not be allowed to ask each other questions, and their microphones will be muted when the other candidate has the floor.
Fewer North Carolina adults oppose tighter abortion restrictions than 6 months ago. A new exclusive WRAL News poll, which asked 900 people, was conducted by Survey USA. And when asked whether they'd support a law that bans abortion after 6 weeks, here's what voters had to say. 43% of respondents supported the idea, 39% opposed it, and 17% said they weren't sure. The September poll represented a 5-point decrease in opponents compared to March. Abortion laws have been a key theme in the gubernatorial race in North Carolina. Republican nominee Mark Robinson has advocated for tighter restrictions, while Democrat Josh Stein has sought to lure moderate voters who might be less inclined to support a more restrictive ban. Abortion has also been a focus of the presidential election. And coming up at 4, WRAL will also release results for the governor's race.
Taxpayers, your money will be used for the cost of reprinting all of North Carolina's ballots. It's now official. New ballots without Robert F. Kennedy's name will be needed to be printed. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares, this is delaying the start of voting in the state.
Your mail-in ballot was supposed to be sent out on Friday. Now, after a series of court rulings, the State Board of Elections here are going to be forced to reprint all of those ballots. Your mail-in ballot could be delayed for weeks. This after the state Supreme Court upheld a lower court's ruling last night. They decided all mail-in ballots should be reprinted without Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name on it, costing up to $1 million taxpayer dollars. A trial court judge ruled against reprinting ballots on Thursday. It was sent to the Court of Appeals the next day. That court ruled that the ballots should be reprinted. Last night's Supreme Court decision upholds that. The Supreme Court says any missed deadlines and extra spending are worth it to ensure no voter confusion. Right now, we're working to find out that exact timeline for when you could receive your ballot in the mail. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Today, Wake County parents can learn more about plans to move thousands of students to new schools next year. WRAL's Laura Levine explains that this is a way for district leaders to address overcrowding.
Construction is well underway here for the Felton Grove High School that's being built behind me. In fact, you can see the work vehicles rolling through the gates as those crews are hard at work. Now, this school is expected to accommodate more than 2,200 students. It's one of 4 schools, those new schools opening in southern Wake County next year. Today, the first of 4 informational sessions will kick off. Parents and families will get to learn more about the reassignment plans for the 3 elementary and 1 high school. The school board recently unveiled the first draft of next year's enrollment plan. It involves shuffling students from 22 elementary schools, 12 middle schools, and 6 high schools. They say it addresses overcrowding and shortens some bus routes. And Wake County Schools has an online forum for parents to share some of the feedback that they may have about all of these changes. The Felton Grove virtual session that will begin at 6 o'clock and run till 7:30 today. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Apex.
We're working to learn more this morning about a report of an armed robbery at a shopping center in Raleigh. This happened last night at the Dollar Tree on Western Boulevard near Buck Jones Road. About 8 Raleigh police cars were there when the WRAL breaking news tracker arrived around 10:30. At least 1 ambulance was outside the store. We have made calls to Raleigh police to find out what happened and to learn whether anyone was injured.
This morning, people on the Gulf Coast are getting ready as Tropical Storm Francine is expected to become a hurricane before making landfall. Louisiana is under a state of emergency ahead of the storm's arrival. Many schools and universities are closed today. This was the scene yesterday across many parishes. People lined up to fill sandbags to protect their homes. The storm is expected to make landfall tomorrow as a hurricane along the Louisiana coast. There could also be life-threatening storm surge in parts of Texas as well.
Some neighbors near the Red Hat Amphitheater are raising their concerns about plans to move it. Raleigh City Council will vote next week on a plan to move the amphitheater 1 block south. That's to make room for an expansion of the Raleigh Convention Center. The city hosted an open house last night to give people a chance to ask questions about this plan. Some people are worried about plans to permanently close South Street between McDowell and Dawson to make room for this move. They say this could hurt affordable housing and choke off accessibility to downtown. However, there are others who say that if closing down South Street is what's needed to keep the amphitheater downtown, then it's worth it.
All right, Aaron Rodgers back for the New York Jets while Christian McCaffrey of the San Francisco 49ers sat out Monday Night Football with a calf injury. McCaffrey's backup, Jordan Mason, had a big game in his place. He got into the end zone for a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. Rodgers had some success throwing the ball as well, including this 36-yard touchdown pass to Allen Lazard. That is his first touchdown pass as a Jet. But it wasn't enough as the 49ers ran away with a 32-19 victory.
Tonight's Mega Millions drawing is up to $800 million. The cash out value is more than $401 million. Not bad. You can watch the next live drawing tonight at 11 o'clock over on WRAL. Your time is 8:40 this morning. The U.S. birth and fertility rates are declining. Experts share the major concern from young adults that could be behind the drop.
And Google is helping you finalize your holiday plans when the company says is the best time to book those holiday flights.
Looking live at Wake Forest this morning, pretty clear skies there. And today is starting off as a nice one, even a little warm temperatures coming our way. We have meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, who has been watching that very carefully in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Nice weather continues. We started that on Sunday, and it continues at least for the next couple of days. We're going to see things clouding up a little bit later on in the week, but pretty over North Hills this morning. You can see that blue sky. It was a little bit hazy yesterday, and we'll see similar conditions today. Right now it is 60 degrees in the triangle with a dew point of 56, and that is hard to beat. Remember, the dew point is the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, and we keep it in the 50s, and it is in the comfortable zone. We will warm up into the mid-80s, but that dew point won't change, and so it'll be warm, but it's not going to be terribly sticky. We've had some beautiful sunrises and sunsets over the last couple of days. Thanks to Lisa Pope for sending this in from Roxborough, looking absolutely gorgeous yesterday evening. A little bit of moisture in the atmosphere, a little bit of smoke from the wildfires has created some really beautiful colors. Speaking of beautiful colors, coming up in just a few minutes, Chris Michaels has a look at some of your amazing photos as Polaris Dawn took off a little while ago, a few hours ago this morning. So take a look at that. We love your WRAL Weather Watcher photos. Go to our website and post what you have. We love to see them. 60 in Durham right now, 58 in Fayetteville, and 61 in South Hills. Temperatures are beginning to warm up a little bit. We're following what's happening with Francine, which is likely to make landfall here in Louisiana with 9 feet of storm surge, 5 to 10 inches of rain. But the path of the storm goes up the Mississippi Valley, and this high pressure system, at least for now, will keep a lot of that moisture to the south and then to the west of us. Eventually it moves on out, but it's keeping things dry for a while, and then we'll just see a light chance of rain over the weekend. So this high pressure system, keeping our weather really nice for at least a couple more days. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we'll watch the system lifting northward. You can see a lot of rain there along the Gulf Coast. The storm is likely to make landfall Wednesday evening as a Category 1 or 2 storm, and then pushing a lot of heavy rain up the Mississippi Valley. But for us, it's going to be some of those outer rain bands that just produce some patchy light rain. We'll have quiet conditions up until Saturday. That's going to be our first chance of rain. High temperatures will be in the 80s. Notice the overnight lows start to warm up a little bit as we get into Friday, and our moisture pops up too. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we start to move back into more humid air mass. Also watching at least the next couple of days for the potential for a little bit of smoke in the atmosphere from some of those western wildfires, but it's not likely to cause us any air quality issues. It's the last Durham Bulls homestand of the season, 79 today at game time, and it's going to be really pleasant through Thursday, even Friday. Over the weekend, we may be dodging a few showers, but we're only looking at a 30% chance Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, most likely well under an inch all total for the weekend.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. I want to take you to these pictures. The video rolling right now is the nuclear power plant in Japan, the Fukushima Daiichi power plant, melted down a few years ago. You might remember this. It's the removal process has begun finally after years of delays. The postponed was because of the removal process with the issue found in an installation of the removal device. Now, it's similar to a fishing rod. They put it inside the reactors, and it's operated remotely because of the extremely high radiation levels there. So there's estimated to be about 880 tons of debris in these 3 reactors that experienced the meltdowns. They'll take out small amounts that'll be tested, and then larger amounts are expected to be removed in the 2030s.
Wow. All right, thanks, Jeff. After many failed attempts, 4 people are now in space as part of SpaceX's Polaris Dawn mission. The capsule lifted off at 5:23 this morning. The 4-person private citizen crew includes a billionaire, a former Air Force pilot, and 2 SpaceX engineers. The group will spend 5 days in space, where they will be sent into the radiation belts. The crew will also perform the first commercial spacewalk.
And WRAL viewers have been sending us photos that they captured of the Polaris Dawn capsule from right here in our viewing area. Let's bring in WRAL's Chris Michaels here now. Chris, how were we able to see that launch happen so clearly, even though it was from Florida?
So it was all about timing, right? This happened at 5:23, and the sun was rising just to the east, and it was low on the horizon, right? So it acted like a flashlight, providing that beam for the vapor trail that Renee saw in Sanford. But we keep getting those pictures, as Chris was just saying. Look at this one from Ryan and Wilson. That is unbelievable. Folks saying that they thought it was a meteor, but you can see kind of the width of that vapor trail, an indication that it was the rocket. You've got another one here out of Clayton. Thanks to Bill for sharing that through our weather watchers. Emma in Edgecombe County getting a neat shot as well. A lot of this was looking out to the east. If you have any security cameras, maybe you saw that as well. If you got a time lapse of it, you can send it. And there's a better close-up of kind of that eerie glow in the morning sky from Renee in Sanford. Again, if you have pictures, videos of that launch, even though it was a few hours ago, we'd love to see them. We'd love to share them. Go to WRAL.com and search Weather Watchers.
All right, thanks, Chris. According to data from the CDC, the U.S. birth rate is declining. While the reasons to have or not have a child are numerous and personal, population experts are sharing what could be behind people putting off kids. Ted Linder takes a closer look.
If the children are our future, how bright will it be in the midst of declining birth rates?
Over the past 10 or 15 years, birth rates are falling. People are concerned about that, about the implications for population structure in the United States, for the economy.
The latest data from the CDC reveals the number of births last year dropped by 2%, with the general fertility rate also down 3%, a historic low. While researchers from The Ohio State University say many factors can contribute to the fall, the decline isn't because most Americans have less desire to start a family.
There are some small increases in the number of people who say they want to be childless, have no children. But basically, the number of children people want is pretty stable. It's right around 2 children.
Population experts say many young adults think it's critical that those who become parents be the best guardians they can be.
To be physically present for your child, to be emotionally connected to your child.
But according to Professor Sarah Hayford, the steep costs of having and raising a child, as well as other economic uncertainties and housing concerns, are making young people scared or unable to have kids.
If they don't feel like they can provide for their child the way they want to provide, financially, emotionally, caretaking, they think it's better not to have children than to be a bad parent.
Hayford says it's important to respect people's choices to not have kids, but calls for strategies to make parenthood easier for those who seek it, including efforts to bolster home construction, job creation, and lower child care and health costs.
That was Ted Linder reporting. Google is helping you determine the best times to book your flight if you're planning to travel for the holidays. October is the best month to lock in those travel plans. It's best to book Thanksgiving travel in early October and Christmas travel in late October. If you plan on traveling internationally, you can book up to 50 days before.
Nominations for the 10th annual WRAL Voters' Choice Awards are now open. Celebrate your local favorites by nominating them on WRAL.com/VCAs through October 9th. The top 5 in over 140 categories will be named finalists and go on to the voting round in November. You can visit WRAL.com/VCAs to submit your nominations right now.
Jennifer Hudson will kick off the festive season a little early this year. The singer is releasing her first holiday album, The Gift of Love. That is going to be on October 18th. It'll feature original songs as well as her versions of favorite classics, including the Christmas song, Oh Holy Night, Winter Wonderland, and Jingle Bells.
We're getting closer to learning who the cast of the next Harry Potter will be. A casting call is out for kids in the UK and Ireland to be the next stars. It also gives a hint for when filming for the Max series will begin. It says the kids must be between the ages of 9 and 11 next April.
We are getting our first look at a new Dust Bowl era thriller and Donald Glover postponing the rest of his North American tour. Here's Rick Damagello with the Hollywood Minute.
The gray man is everywhere. You can't keep him out.
Sarah Paulson takes on the horrors hiding in the dust. This is your first look at the Depression-era thriller Hold Your Breath, which sees the actress protecting her family from a sinister presence. The film arrives on Hulu on October 3rd. Donald Glover postpones the remaining dates of his final tour as Childish Gambino. The musician announced on social media that he is going to take time to focus on his physical health and that all dates will be rescheduled.
Okay, let's see if we can get through one of these skits.
Sketches. Davey, please.
Okay, ready, camera one? Oh!
SNL's rough start is revealed. The upcoming comedy Saturday Night follows the hurdles the legendary sketch comedy series faced, getting ready for its premiere broadcast in 1975. Fans will see how it all came together when the movie opens wide on October 11th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
It all looks really good. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. When we come back, we'll have more news, weather, and traffic. We'll get another check on traffic next.